Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Innovation Room podcast. I'm Tori Homan here with my co-host Rhiannon Huff, and today we are talking all about what it takes to make it in the sign industry.
What we want to talk about today is basically the sign industry is something that you just don't think about. You don't think
Mhm.
about a career in. It's not like one of those that, oh, I want to be a policeman when I grow up, or I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. Nobody says, hey, I want to be in the sign industry when I grow up. So
Yeah.
we're just going to give you a little ins and outs of the sign industry, different types of jobs, and just give you a little bit of fun facts about what we do every day. Okay, so first and foremost, we're just going to dive into specific jobs of a sign company. The sign industry is one that there are so many different guild areas. So, as a national company, we have all types of standard jobs that you'd expect. Obviously, you have the C suite, accounting, we have an HR department, but jobs that are specific to the industry and help us run every single day operationally are our project managers, we have designers, we have our manufacturing team, our installers, and the list goes on. So, Tori, let's break down these categories.
So we're going to start with our design team. These guys are really the perfect example of where artistry meets engineering. I think when you think of a designer, you think of graphic design. I'm creating logos or I'm building out different graphics and things like that. But these guys have to have the eye for aesthetics, but then they need to meet that with creating blueprints. And there's a lot of technical aspects of what they do. So they're really just blending those two in a fun way. And the other part of what they do is making sure that they really understand the brands that they're working for because they are, from that visual branding standpoint, they're the ones who are most responsible for the visual brand integrity of the signs that they're working on. They have to make sure that the signage meets the client's expectation. They have to make sure that it integrate seamlessly with the building that they're putting it on, with whatever the existing facade is, or what is the environment. If it's especially if it's a standalone sign like a monument or a pylon, how is it going to work with the rest of the environment around it? They have to think also about electrical needs, right? A lot of signs are illuminated. Sometimes you might have existing electrical, sometimes you don't. And those are all things that have to be considered when you're putting together that blueprint. And then they also have to think about what are the municipal requirements. And there are other team members who help with these things, but there's just all these different pieces that impact the design of the sign that they have to think about. They work in programs like CAD and Corel and the Adobe suite. They're very creative people. They have to be. And that goes hand in hand with being problem solvers. Let's say that you have a building facade where you don't have electrical. Maybe it's an older building. And so how are you going to creatively work to build a sign that you can still easily access the electrical side of things while integrating that with a facade that might not be set up to have a sign put on it? How do they meet all those different needs? So they're really creative. They're amazing problem solvers. And they're really math oriented. They're detail oriented because you have to have just absolute precision when you're creating these blueprints. So our design team is amazing. They are so smart, so creative. And it's fun too when we get to toss some projects for on the marketing side of things. They get to have fun with some other areas too. But as far as signage goes, these guys, like I said before, perfectly blending artistry and engineering. It's a beautiful thing they've got going on.
So, the actual sign being built, and we
Yeah.
are very lucky at North American Signs. We have been around for 90 years. And so we have some of our manufacturing techs that have been in our shop for years and years and years. We're talking 30 plus years. And so the knowledge and skill level that some of these guys have and to pass down is just fantastic. But to see the magic that happens in that shop, each manufacturer, they are in different stations and they have different jobs. Some work on applying vinyl to faces, some bend channel letters, some are cutting the material. We have welders in our shop, some are painting. One of the team members works exclusively to make specific crates that are sized for those signs. The last thing we want is a sign leaving our shop and then getting injured and damaged in shipping. So we have people that are making those custom crates. And it's just amazing to see the skill level that they have. If you want to work with something that you're working with your hands, you're not sitting behind a desk, behind a computer, or you have welding, that is something to think about if you have a local sign shop in your area to potentially search out for a job there. But you need to know how to read a blueprint. They need to know the knowledge of the different equipment we have. That's always interchanging as technology changes. We have new machinery in the shop, and they're always constantly keeping up with the new trends. How to work as efficiently as they can, so that detail oriented and making sure that each piece that goes out of our shop is built to our standards. So, Tori,
Yeah.
what about installers? We have a team, we have a
Yeah.
local team, we have national
Yeah.
teams, installers. Let's talk a little about a bit about what they do.
Yeah. So these guys, I have to imagine that their job is really fun because they get to really see the completed product. The designers, they see it on their screen, and the project managers are seeing some different touch points, and the manufacturing team sees it there on the shop floor. But the installers, I think, have a ton of fun just getting to see the finished product and wrapping the whole thing up. So they take it from the crate to the storefront. These guys, a lot of times, like I mentioned before, a ton of our signs are illuminated. And so it's really important for this team to have skills in how to connect that electrical wiring and all those pieces. They're not always certified electricians, but they do have that knowledge. Sometimes they are operating heavy equipment. That's another aspect of their job, especially if they're having to put a sign up on a really high building. If they're in a crane, they're in a bucket truck, whatever that looks like. So there's a lot of fun stuff that they get
Hey,
to
you
do
think of
when
those
they're
signs on the big skyscrapers in like New
yes,
York and Chicago? I
right?
have seen these techs scaling buildings to put signs on these walls,
Yes,
and it is amazing to think about.
yes,
And it's something until you're in this industry, you look at something that's that high in the sky and you're like, how'd that get there?
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
somebody put it there, and it's
Somebody had to go screw
amazing
that
to
sucker
know.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
It is pretty crazy. Yeah.
They also work with a lot of different facades. So you're working with brick. We just installed on glass. So knowing how to install these different without obviously breaking, damaging the facade that is there, the building that is there, and keeping things intact. There's just a lot of ins and outs. They work simultaneously with the GCs, their general contractors on site, because a lot of times these installers are working with new buildings or brand new from start to finish. So there's always the inside work that's going on, the GC that's in charge of the entire thing from start to finish. So a lot of times they will get the sign on the wall and the GC will have an electrician come back afterwards and do the final connections and final walkthroughs to make sure that's okay. But the installers definitely have to make sure that they have the capability of working with those people on site to make sure that they are scheduling those installs in a manner where, hey, we never want a store to open without that sign in the building. That is absolutely no go for us at North American Signs. So the schedule and how long it's going to take, how many guys they're going to need. So there's a lot of juggling and moving pieces that these installers, and you're right, they're those ones that get to see the final finished product of what it looks like. And honestly, on the back end, I'm jealous of them sometimes, but definitely when we hire new people, we have them go on local install or local repair work as well to see what the people do in the field.
Yeah, it's really important work. And I appreciate that you pointed that out, Ree, because the communication piece for all of the jobs that we're talking about, you've heard us talk about this before on the podcast, how critical communication is. And for these guys, when they're on site and they're dealing with people that they've probably never met before. And so they're having to sometimes overcome some different challenges when they're installing on site. And so that communication piece of it is super, super important.
It can be dangerous. We have seen signs fall off a wall. Those install crews are extremely important. You don't think of a signage as, oh, I'm worried about the safety or anything along those lines. But in all reality, it really is the safety for them, the safety for the other people on the site, and the long term safety of the clients and the people that are going in and out of this building to make sure that sign is secure, it looks good, and above all, keeping that branding for that client right on par with what they need.
Now, the job that kind of ties all these other ones together, someone has to coordinate this work. So, Reed, talk to us about project managers.
Project management is something that I think has become more and more popular throughout the years. And I think there's now degrees that you can get specifically on and around project management. There's different certifications, there's different levels. So most PMs that work in the sign industry, they operate from start to finish. We expect that project manager to take that job, to take that location, and they are starting it from the ground up, from all the way till that sign gets on the wall. So many industries, they're working with operations, but the PMs in the sign industries focus on new build and or the maintenance. So these new builds, they are working with city. They're looking at city codes. So they need to know what signage is even allowed on this building that they're going to in this area of the city. How large is it going to be? What type is it allowed to be illuminated? You're working with city codes, you're working with the general contractors, you're working with the installers that are putting the signs on the wall. You're working with the manufacturers, whether it's in-house or a manufacturing partner. You're working with the art department to make sure that those renderings, those specs that we need to get that sign actually made and on to the manufacturing department are correct, that they have the correct specs. We're looking at paint. You need to look at facade and what color is the building versus what color is the sign going to be. We've actually had where we put signs on the wall, unfortunately, or have seen where the facade is the exact same color as the sign. And so that's not gonna work. That's an oopsie. What can we do? Like a bright green sign and a bright green background, not gonna work. That sign wasn't supposed to be that color. So unfortunately, things happen. But these project managers are just juggling all of this all at once. So the new sign PMs, they're coordinating between the client, the design team, manufacturer floor. They deal with the permitting and also variances. So sometimes you have a sign that a client is set on. They need this size or they need this type. They really would like a pylon sign. City says no go. So we have to work with a variance company to make sure that we can get the sign that the client is really wanting. And that's going through legal to make sure that we can get that variance in order to get that sign that client wants. They also coordinate partners with vendors. We have vendors all around the country. They're coordinating with them. They're talking to them. They're communicating with the on the progress with the client. Client always wants to stay up to date. What's happening? Where's the sign? Deadlines. Constantly having to meet those deadlines. Like I said, not getting a sign on the wall before a store opens is not acceptable. So these PMs are daily working through these steps to make sure that final opening date, that sign is on that wall. Sometimes they also have to get banners made, opening soon, coming soon, things along those lines that they have to get before the sign is even up there. They are looking at the blueprints. The necessary skills of a PM on top of all of that is detail oriented. Our best PMs can handle the details because there are so many details to this process. They like customer service. We are working with clients in and out every single day. And sometimes you run through difficult situations. So strong communication skills. A vendor or a tech didn't do things exactly how you initially wanted them. The survey information isn't correct. If they don't get all the necessary information, they have to push back on that tech, get that information they need, really communicate. They also handle the invoicing from start to finish, getting everything on that invoice, on that proposal to the client, everything that they need from start to finish. We also going to flip to my side, maintenance PMs. We call ourselves chaos coordinators. Nobody calls us because they're happy that a sign is broken, but that is what we deal with day in and day out. And what we do is we expedite. We get these things done as soon as possible. And sometimes it's, again, communication with the client. We handle the completion of each site from start to finish. We have signs that range from every degree of brokenness. So if you have something from just a power supply out, maybe one letter in a sign, to a car ran into the sign and it's completely destroyed and we need to get it up there. We deal with awnings, we deal with cleanings, we deal with all sorts of situations. So on my side, if you like the unknown and you like to not know what you're going to do every day, but you like that busyness, one thing PMs they are not bored. They always have something going on. It's not one of those jobs or those tasks that you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs and say, what do I do next? there's always something going on. So if you want a busy, very fast-paced job, a PM in the sign industry might be one to look for and to look into because you have such a wide range of what you're handling and dealing with. You get to see that really beautiful sign that you helped create to put on that wall at the end of the day. Or a client's really upset because they have a bigwig coming in town and their sign's broke and we knock it out of the park and get it up and running for them right at the last minute. So all of these are great feelings. Again, you're working with clients that are so happy to be working with you, or at the same time, you work with problems, handling chaos. I wish I could say that everything goes smoothly. Every single day goes perfect, right? No, that's not life. So being able to handle those and handle the chaos. So to be a project manager, you need to be detail oriented, strong communication skills, and just able to handle the chaos and able to do it with a smile on your face and just really wanting to see that accomplished product on the wall is it's a great feeling. But again, most people don't even think about these types of jobs. Some that we won't go into a little bit more, we don't touch on, there's HR and accounting, there's always those things, but also sales. We have the sales representatives that are anywhere along the lines from the brand new business to the sales development along the way to helping a client get onboarded. So that's always something that we have here as well.
I think one of the things that I personally think is the most valuable about project management is that from a career trajectory standpoint, it can be really valuable, right? A lot of us grow up and you have a job in food service or you work retail or something. This is a different kind of customer service, but I think just like the soft skills that you gain by being a project manager are so valuable in whatever your maybe your longer term goals are. So it's a good thing to consider. All these jobs are some technical, some that require a little more project coordination, soft skill type of work, but there's probably a place for you in the sign industry if you're looking for it, and it's one that you never think about, but it is really important and you will never look at a sign the same way again.
Well, Tori, once again, this has been a good episode. Again, just pulling back the curtain a little bit, the magic of
Mhm.
sign making and what we do and what goes into it. I know
Yeah.
this was a rapid fire. What do we do? What are the different types of jobs? But if you want to be part of the sign industry or have any type of interest, we'd love to answer questions for you and
Mhm.
just simply be what might be a good fit for you, how to go about it. It's just really fun. Or if you just have questions because you're interested, feel free,
Yeah.
ask us.
Yeah, absolutely. You can drop us questions in the comments. You can reach out to us at marketing@northamericanscience.com, and we would love to hear from you. Or you can find Rhiannon and I on LinkedIn. The links to our profiles are in the description for this episode, so you can check us out there. You can also sign up for our monthly InAssign newsletter that just provides more educational resources like what you get here on the podcast. You can find the link to sign up in the description below. Let us know if there are, yeah, any other questions that y'all have about what it means to work in the signage industry. Until next time, keep innovating.